This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com.
Hey everyone, I'm Steph, and I am taking over Tuesdays. Rob offered me his channel, and I'm gonna take it. That's what happens when you offer me a channel. Anyway, I like to learn lots of games. Many people know that I play a lot of games, and I love doing it. So in January, I learned about 40 games. In February, I learned about 40 games. So I'm going to give you my rundown of my top 10 favorite games that I learned in February 2020. Starting with number 10. It is Funkoverse Jurassic Park 100 and 101. Now, if you're familiar with the Funkoverse games, you'll be very familiar with the system that incorporates into the Jurassic Park games as well. I love Harry Potter. I love Jurassic Park. Now I can combine them and to make a Harry Potter Jurassic Park world if I want. But more importantly, I get to play dinosaurs. I get to play those dinosaurs. I love playing dinosaurs. I love the theme of Jurassic Park. It's so much fun. In this case, we played like in the cage. So it was a cage match, if you will. You still try and collect the gems, or the tokens, which in this case are amber. And we played 2-player, and each played 2 characters. So we're trying to get 6 amber first, and I totally lost. Dinosaurs, not for the win. Now, it wasn't because they aren't the best, because they are. They're still the best. I just was rolling really poorly. But the T-Rex can just bombard people over and get like tons of attacks in the process, and the Velociraptor can just poof into like show up next to you if she left her territory mark there earlier. And it's really cool. I love the new mechanics. I love, you know, just the variety all in general. It's just so much fun, and Jurassic Park is pretty much a home run for me. Really enjoyed it, and look forward to seeing more from the Funkoverse. Coming in at number 9 is unusual for me because it is a hidden trader type game called Jewel Heist. Now, this is a new game from Mattel, and you need 5 or more players basically, and there are going to be 2 robbers at the table. Now, what makes this game super interesting is that it's also part dexterity. And if you know me, I love dexterity games. I love dexterity games. And so, for this being a 15-minute game, the robbers have like a very quick time each round to grab a couple gems. Now, in the jewel case, they have to lift the jewel case, and there are marbles. So if they're clumsy or not careful enough, these marbles are going to fall all over the place, and they want to put those marbles back in place before the team or the whole group of people count down to 1. So they start at 15, 14 with their eyes closed. And during that time, the robbers are also counting down, but having to try and manipulate this gem case to try and snag those gems, put them in their pocket, and then at the end of the round, they have to vote on who everybody thinks the robbers are. So the robbers don't want to point to the other robbers, so they're going to try and accuse, you know, the innocent cop and make it look like they did it. So it's a little tricky, and during that time that they are sneaking and doing these things, you have to listen. And so I was a cop, and the first game we played, the 2 robbers were very clumsy, and it was very easy for us to be like, they did it, obviously. The second game, they were actually the robbers again, randomly, and they learned from their mistakes really fast, and they won the second game. It was impressive. For a 15-minute game, this was so much fun, and I just love dexterity, so I would totally recommend trying this out. Plays up to 8 people, I think, so it would be crazy with 8 people, but hey, I would try it. Anything could happen. Coming in at number 8 is Kezia. Desert Sand, or Sands of Time, or Sands are in there somewhere. I can't remember the little subtext. But Kezia, the reprint from Stronghold Games, gorgeous production. I love that they incorporated a 2-player updated board and different cards to help with that. I think it works really well with 2 players. I haven't played it yet with more players. I played the old version and enjoyed it. So this time, you know, I have the chance to own it, and it will stay on the shelf. I quite enjoyed my experience. It's always so stressful playing this game, because do you want to take that long leap down there to get what you really want, or do you want to try and hold out? There's a lot of tough choices, and, you know, quite fun. Now, coming in at number 7, it took me by surprise a little bit, because Kodama 3D really has come leaps and bounds since that first Kodama, which left kind of a poor, you know, memory for me. They've taken the core mechanic of building up this tree and the easy mechanics of like easy goals that you're trying to complete, and they put it into this very mainstream, simplified drafting tiles to put onto your tree game, and it's perfect. It plays out very quickly, which I love. So you can place your little Kodama meeples down and then start drafting these tiles that you've already put your guy on to add to your tree. So you're building this beautiful like tree masterpiece as the game goes on. You're only drafting 12 tiles in all, and you're trying to get these other goal cards as you're doing it. It's very simple, and I think it's well done. It's definitely what I always wanted Kodama to be originally. So, well done. I am pleased to have this and play it more. Coming in at number 6 is Abomination. Now, a lot of people got to play this last year, and it's gotten a lot of high praise since then. Now, the theme is a bit gruesome because you are basically building Frankenstein. You are worker placing out on the board to collect these different body parts and body materials to go back to your lab and then, you know, electrify your monster alive. That is your goal, is to create a full monster fully alive. And it's pretty gruesome. I mean, you will get better materials if you go out and kill somebody because all of the materials are fresh versus going into the graveyard and digging up some, you know, body parts there, which they're not going to be fresh, obviously. So you have all these different like options on how you want to build your monster, and the theme is really it's kind of cool. It's definitely different, so I have to hand it to them. It's very intriguing. I definitely want to play again. Now I probably want to play the shortened version because I hear there's a variant on BGG that I can find that, you know, will shorten it up a bit, because I think the base game is probably about 3 hours, which is a bit long, but I had a great time. There were some story elements that were cool too, so I would definitely want to pick this up in the future. Number 5 for my counting up favorite games of February 2020 is Winner Winner Chicken Dinner. Now, this is a silly push your luck dice rolling game. You are chucking these dice to try and collect chickens to turn them into dinner. And there are other cards that you can claim to steal from other people, or make them do a cluck off, or make them do a chicken dance. And it's all very silly, and I've played 3 times now, and I've had a bunch of fun each time. You're just trying to roll these dice and collect these things. You know, you don't want to, if you have so many chicken in your bag, you don't want to switch bags with somebody, but they might make you. So you want to turn all those chickens into dinner for points. And the game ends in about, I don't know, 15-20 minutes, so it's just silly fun. And there's a cool rubber chicken in the box. What? Chicken. I love it. I just love it. The quality of this game is amazing. I would totally recommend playing this one. Coming in at number 4 is Imperial Spells in Steam. Now, Imperial is not spelled how I would normally think it was spelled. It's called like Imperial, Empyreal. Now it's a different spelling, so I always think of it as MP because I can't. Imperial. Okay, cool. Now it's not your typical train game. You are controlling the map, and there's a modular board every game, and you'll place all these resources out on the board. Now, when you place your train, you don't automatically get a resource that's on the spot. You will have to make a connection of your trains to different locations and then spend your delivery action to deliver the good that you are currently sitting on. So, at any moment, many people could be on one space. And so it's kind of like critical that you deliver before other people, or you might miss out on the chance to do so. So there's a lot going on there. There's a lot of player interaction with the boards and how it's playing out. But there's also, you're building up your different actions that give you more. So the different train tiles that you place on your board. So each time you land on that space, you can do more actions. Of course, it'll cost you more mana. You have these different like roll cards that you'll be collecting in the game that will give you bonuses during the game. So there's a ton of replay value here because there's so much content inside this box. The box is huge. It's huge. I mean, it's an unbelievably large box. It's like a 1x1. Like, it's this cube. It's a full cube. Now, it's not totally full, but I anticipate expansions to fill up that box, and it's just awesome. Production's awesome. I quite enjoyed it. I'll be playing that one again for sure. My number 3 is Chronicles of Crime 1400. Now, this is part of the Millennial series, and it's currently on Kickstarter. And if you're a fan of Chronicles of Crime, I think you'll very much enjoy this. They have incorporated a lot of Chronicles of Crime into this standalone game series. So each box is a standalone series. And so the 1400 takes place in the 1400s, so you're not going to find computers and phones and all this stuff. But what they do is they've taken what we've always said, is that in the original Chronicles of Crime, well, we missed this little thing that was hidden in the pot over here. How are we supposed to find that? Like, we don't know. So they've taken that where one piece of evidence might be located somewhere else in the game overall. So you're not going to get lost by missing one little aspect. You can find this other aspect over here. So there's multiple ways to get to the one point and at the end. So I like this. They've taken what we've said, and they've definitely come a long way since the original Chronicles of Crime. And I'm excited to see the other games and the other, games with. I've only played the first game in the 1400 series, and I really enjoyed it. So the app is great. The game is great. Overall, this is probably one of the best Chronicles of Crime I've played yet. So you should definitely be on the lookout for that. Coming in at number 2 is Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. Now, I'm a big fan of Pathfinder. I've been playing a lot of Pathfinder this past year. I think, this one isn't as good as Mummy's Mask. Again, I'm only 12 games in out of, I don't know what, last game we played was Skulls and Shackles, which is about, 50 games. So 12 games is not that many, but overall it's not bad. I enjoy my character. She has a wolf. I mean, how much better could it be for me? I love wolves so much. So that just works all around. I'm not yet connected to her so much yet. So we'll see where it leads. Right now, it's still Pathfinder. I love it, and I'm hopeful. So more Pathfinder is better, right? Now, my number 1, my game of the month, was In the Hall of the Mountain King. If you haven't heard of this, it is a tile placement, card drafting kind of game. These trolls that you have will produce these resources so you can expand your part of the mountain. You are digging these tunnels to try and collect these statues, and you want to bring these statues closer to the heart of the mountain to get more points. You want to put the statues on pedestals for more points. There's lots of different things you're doing. But what's cool is the way that the trolls are manipulated in the game. When you draft a new troll, it will produce a resource and then activate all the trolls underneath it. So you're creating this like pyramid of trolls, and you don't want to activate them too soon, otherwise they won't produce more resources if you haven't already used the resources on the troll already. So you want to figure out ways to get the resources off of the trolls, or just simply using them to expand your caverns. And so you're doing all this, and everybody else is trying to do all that too. And there's different great halls that you can create. There's different goals you're trying to accomplish to get more points. There's so much going on, so many viable strategies, and it's all around just a wonderful game. totally up my alley. Loved it. Can't wait to play it again. Hopefully this weekend because I want to play it more. And there's a cool co-op mode, so maybe that's going to be amazing too. I can't wait to try it all. And so that was my top 10 games learned in February 2020. I also wanted to quickly mention a couple of expansions that I also got to learn. I am supporting the Quacks of Quedlinburg because I just learned the Witches' Herbs expansion. Now, if you're a fan of Quacks of Quedlinburg, this is a no-brainer. You have to get this expansion. There's more books, more chapters, so 2 of each kind. There's a whole new resource, too. It works kind of as a wild. And more importantly, there are 3 witches that you'll use each game. Everybody starts with $3. So you get a gold, copper, and bronze, I think, or silver, gold, and, 3 types of metals. And you'll use them to pay off these witches. They're one-time abilities in the game, and they are awesome abilities. Like, you don't want to miss out on that. So I would totally recommend the Quacks of Quedlinburg expansion. So look for that. And another amazing expansion that I happen to just simply love was Aeon's End, the Ancients. In the Ancients, there are 2 new characters, 1 new nemesis, and a whole bunch of cards. And everything just meshes so well together. It is phenomenal. I think this is the best expansion they have done to date. I always like to play one game with all of the expansion before incorporating it to the whole base game box with everything else, because I just like to see all the new mechanics and what's happening. So there's one character that will change from like good to evil and do all these different things depending on what side they're on, and I got to play a cool mage that got to basically upgrade their abilities as they go, and it was so cool, and it worked so well with the cards that were in play, and the nemesis was simply awesome. Totally unique. I can't recommend the Ancients more if you're an Aeon's End fan, and it works well with New Age because it's kind of after that phase. So if you're a fan of Aeon's End at all, this is probably one of the expansions that you should definitely look into. Loved it, loved it, loved it. February gaming was excellent. Thank you all for joining. I am Steph. Until next time.
This
bye.
video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints. Discount prices at miniaturemarket.com.
The Kingdom of East Anglia saw the birth of their greatest son, an Anglo-Saxon warrior destined to be a champion for the ages and a national treasure for all time.